contact? Who should we notify in case of death? Welcome to the USP, where I spent the last 2+ decades of my life. You know, through the course of the last quarter century, I've been on a few different yards. Started out in Lompoc in 2001, went to Victorville 2004, went to Beaumont 2006, went to Atwater 2008, went to Lewisburg 2016, went to Florence 2017. You know, by the time I got to Florence, I was already, I guess for lack of a better word, exhausted from the 2 decades that I've been doing. You know, and I sat in Lewisburg, you know, being in the shoe and going to Lewisburg. I went to the shoe around October, November, before Thanksgiving of 2015. And I didn't get back on the compound till the first week of April, last week of March in 2017. You know, so when I got to Florence, like I said, like I mentioned in some other videos, I was waiting for the Johnson case. So my mentality was a little different because I'm the kind of person that, you know, if I dip and dab in certain activities, whether it's hustling, gambling, whatever it is that I'm doing, if I dip and dab in these different ventures, I'm only comfortable in it if I'm committed to it. Because no matter how respectful you are, no matter how many people respect you or like you or fuck with you, there's always going to be one or two dudes that doesn't know you, or one or two dudes that are miserable and are going to try you. So when you're in the penitentiary and you're hustling and you're doing all these different things, you have to expect the things that come with the hustle, just like out here in the streets. If you're out here pushing, doing whatever you're doing, if you ain't willing to do what it takes when things go sideways, or if somebody burn you, then you shouldn't be in the game, because once word gets out that somebody didn't pay you, well, no one's gonna pay you. And that's just a general consensus with the population. You know, it doesn't matter how long you've been doing business with somebody. Once you find out that their credential ain't up to par, then all the respect and everything just automatically goes out the window. You know, because for us, we carry ourselves a certain way. And we insist on dealing with our situation when things come up. The reason that we do these things is to ensure our well-being, because, you know, in there, no one's really looking for a fight. All the ones you call bullies or whatever, they're looking for an easy mark. So if they see that you're not going to fight and defend what is yours, then they're coming. And it's not just them. Word's going to get around, and everybody else is going to come. I mean, it might not be so obvious where people are lined up outside your door waiting to come in and see what you got in your sale. But it's just like that. You might not see the line outside your door, but if you're that individual that has been exposed, you're going to feel it. You know, when you're watching TV, somebody's going to slide up next to you, strike up a conversation with you, and, you know, you might think it's a regular conversation, but then there's some subtlety to it. You know, little hints about what they're inquiring for. You know, we like to say there's 101 ways to press someone, to extort someone. You have the soft press, the friendly press, and the hard press. You know, the soft press is, you know, when two people enter a relationship, when two people meet, after the first couple conversation, you're going to automatically get an idea of the pecking order. We're not all equal. Like, that's just the way the world is. And when it comes to this gangster stuff, like I mentioned in another video, there's different levels to this. Different levels to, one, the organization that you're a part of, or the street gang that you're a part of. And the other different level is on a personal level. Because there's some people that might be with the program to a certain extent. There's some people that is just hanging out right now because it's fun and it's convenient and it gives them a little status. Then there's some people that really believe in the cause or whatever it is they bought into. And then you just have some individuals that are just lunatics, psychopaths. So it's always wise to be able to gauge and assess the caliber of people that you're dealing with. Me, I like to deal with the extreme, the people that are serious, because I know that when I deal with these people, that they're gonna hold their part of the bargain. Whatever we agree to, they're gonna uphold their end, because them being a serious individual, they know that if them or I don't do what we're supposed to do, it can get serious real fast. The problem is when you deal with goofy dudes that don't realize how serious things get, and they feel that they can just be like, oh, I'll get you tomorrow, or hold on, something. You know, once somebody, especially when it comes to money, once somebody invests their money or invests their product and now it's in your hands, it's on you now. You know, what did Biggie say? You know, his 10 crack commandments or something. Like, don't get it. You can't move it because these people ain't trying to hear it. And that's facts. That's just life. Because a lot of times we all want to believe that we're bigger than who we really are, or that we're more capable than what we really are. You know, a lot of people, for whatever reason, wants to give off the impression that they're this type of dude and have this type of resources. And they start believing that shit themselves. So they start going around looking for somebody to plug up with so they can do whatever they do. Well, the guy they go to, because not anybody in a penitentiary can just put things together. So if you're going up to somebody to get something done, and the person that can get it done, well, he's somebody that has resources. And the reason he has resources, or still has resources, because he's somebody that his people respect. Because once you get locked up, the people in the world, you know, out of mind, out of sight. Especially if you got decades in life sentence, there's dudes out here that feel like they ain't got to answer your call. Or if they owed you money or whatever issue, they feel that they can put you off. You're not here no more. Out of sight, out of mind. So to have resources on the streets, to have people continuously, you know, run around and make moves for you, I would assume, a person that has respect, that's earned respect and is loved by the people. And the only reason you're going to be able to be loved and respected is because you have decent qualities about you that people feel like you're still worth their energy and their time. Because, you know, out here in the world, life goes on. while we're sitting there stuck in a box, watching the world go by us through photographs, through a flat screen. It's flat screen now. You know, when I first went in, they had TVs with the knobs still. I had to stick a TV stick through the bars and turn the knobs, you know, channel surfing the 5 channels that we got. But, so, doesn't matter who you are. You know you're better than yourself. You know better than anybody else your situation. You absolutely, without a doubt, know what you can and cannot do. And I know it's a thing out here for people to want to be perceived, want to be respected. I mean, you know, want to be perceived as, you know, as a decent dude. Want to be respected. You know, but the problem is a lot of people want these things. You know, they want the accolades. They want the respect. They want the love. They want the fear, the status. But not everybody is willing to earn it. They just want it. So when you have somebody that thinks of themselves a certain way that is bigger than their reality, and they run into somebody that is the reality, and through, you know, their desire to impress or their desire to be looked upon as something greater, they put themselves out there saying that they can do this or they can do that. And when they approach those subjects with these individuals that can do these things and get in business with them, get in bed with them, you know, you can't fault these dudes that's, you know, when it comes to them collecting them, like, oh, you can't be like, oh, why the homie tripping over a few $100s? Why the homie tripping over a couple baggies? It's never, let me repeat, when you deal with people of this caliber, it is never about the money. You know, everybody's, oh, that's just petty, just let it go. Oh, that's not even worth it. It is never about the money. You have to understand the mentality of individuals like me. When you shake my hand, when I shake your hand, when I agree with you, agree to do something with you, when I set a time with you, I'm going to be punctual. I'm going to do everything that I agree to, because I would never agree to anything if I weren't able to fulfill it. So if I go through all the trouble to meet the agreement that we agreed upon, to do my part, and you don't produce your end, well, I'm going to feel some type of way about it, because obviously whatever conversation we're engaged in has something to do with things that could potentially be serious. So if I'm doing my part to produce my end, and for our business to complete, you got to fulfill yours. Hey, once I fulfill mine, I expect you to fulfill yours. And outside of your mama being on the deathbed, or you yourself dying, I'm not trying to hear it. Because, like I said, you yourself know exactly what you can and can't do. So when you start trying to promise things that are beyond your means, you're setting yourself up for failure. And time again, there's people that don't make it because they didn't do their part. And sometimes, like in the incident that I shared with you a while back, you know, a black dude, and somebody asked me what race they were that did the business with him. It was a couple Mexicans. The black dude went and told him, hey, I got a girl, she can bring in work. This is why we was in Beaumont. Whoever he went and talked to, agreed it, sent him to work. But from his end, he was straight up. He was an honest individual, and he had every intention to fulfill his part. But nobody's in your psyche. No one can read your thoughts. No one can read your mind. They can put together the stuff that you've said, the stuff that you've shown them, little signals in here for them to evaluate, the level of confidence they have in you to fulfill your part. But at the end of the day, you can't read your mind. And when people don't know something, then their imagination starts playing. Like, when you come out of the room in the middle of the night, when you're getting up to go piss, you come out in the hallway, you see a shadow that might make your heart skip a beat. Like, oh, who's that? And you're kind of like frozen because for a split second, because this is a foreign object or a foreign sight that you're not accustomed to. So your imagination for that split seconds starts playing. But when you hit the light, you see it's just a coat on a coat hanger. It would be a lot simpler if we all can understand what everybody's intention and what everybody's thoughts are to see if they're sincere or not. But we're not able to do that. So the only thing that we can go by is, people's track records. For me, I don't like to meet new people. The people that I meet that are new were introduced to someone that was old, that I already been knowing. I'm not meeting brand new people, creating relationships just because I understand the environment that I live in. I'm always dipping and dabbing in different things. So I don't want dudes that I can't trust or know that I can't trust. I mean, I can say I can trust someone, but at the end of the day, like I said, you don't know what's in a person's mind, so you don't know who they really are until the time comes. But to emphasize what I'm saying, with this kid, he had every intention to do what he was supposed to do. The work got sent to his place, but he came back and said, hey, I ain't got it. He called his girl. And his girl is straight up too from, because this wasn't the first time that he, participated in this activity. It's just the first time that he's dealing with these Mexican dudes. And they're telling him, hey, the stuff is sent. It's been there for a few days. The dude calls his girl, asks her, hey, where's this stuff at? And she's like, hey, I ain't seen it. In every aspect that you deal in, no matter how minute or big it is, you have to go about it the same way. And the same way is being punctual and fulfilling your part. Especially, if you're dealing in the corporate world, you might not have to be so concerned outside of your credibility. They might tarnish your credit. They might deny this loan. They might sue you. But in our world, in the world that I've existed in for practically my whole entire adult life, we don't litigate. When you don't fulfill your part, people's going to hold you accountable. And yeah, there's different levels to what they consider is acceptable according to, your violation, your faults. But, when you go to punish somebody, let's say, okay, maybe this doesn't deserve a death penalty, but you still got to go punish this dude. But you're not going over to beat him up. You're going over to stab him. And yeah, your intention might not be to kill him, but you have no idea what God has in store with this individual. You can hit this individual 30 times, 40 times, and he might make it and live. Or you can hit this dude one time just to make an example out of him, just to let him know that you ain't playing. But that one puncture Might have been a vital organ or hit an artery or just a freaking fluke. Be contaminated and the dude gets gangrene. Like, when you have to deal with this stuff, there's no guarantee, absolutely none, that's going to turn out the way that you intended to. You know, this kid, he went into this business venture because he was going to come up 50-50. The people provide the work. If he brings in a zip, and I'm sure it's probably tar, heroin, H, whatever you want to call it, you know, the market in a penitentiary is anywhere between 500 to 700 a gram. That's wholesale. So if you're bringing in 28, he gets 14 of it, you know, he's coming up $7,000. But that's all people see is the monetary signs. That's what gets their feet moving when they dangle that carrot in front of their own face. But at the same time, they're looking at the reward, the pot of gold, but not taking all the necessary steps to make sure on your way there that everything is kosher, that there's no ifs and ands about your part or anybody else's part. The Mexican dude they said that. It's been there. But every time he calls his girl says it's not here. Well, the Mexicans, like I said, they've done their part. And they can't read the individual's mind. So from their perspective is dude's playing game. And on them, they're like, shit. You know, we're not the one to play games with. And they can't allow this kid or whoever this dude is to play them, to burn them, because they're part of an organization that type of shit's going to be scrutinized on them. And it's going to tarnish their reputation. To protect their interests, to protect their status within their organization, they have no choice but to go deal with this dude. And they went and dealt with him. And they ended up killing him. And when they killed him, you know, one of the dude's friend called the dude's girl. He said, hey, something just happened. You know, your dude's dead. And she's like, no, it's right here. I just found it. It's right here. They had sent the stuff, but they had sent it inside a teddy bear. The dude's girl's roommate had went and got the mail, didn't know what it was, and just put it in the closet. And this whole time, that dude's calling his girl to go look for this stuff because she doesn't know how it came. And she's telling him, hey, it's not here. And it wasn't like a week, 2 weeks. You know, when people mail this stuff to them, they got a tracking number. Once that shit hit your doorstep, they want a verification. And that shit's been delivered for 3 days. And dude kept coming back saying, no. And he lost his life for it. In retrospect, all of us is going to say, oh, that's not worth your life. Why would you engage in that activity? It's not worth your life. But people don't think about that. You know, and that's the problem. You know, I was listening to 48 Laws of Power. I've been listening to it in my audio for the last few weeks. And it's a lot. It's 48 laws, right? But, you know, even though I can't tell you exactly what law or what page or anything, you know, and even at the time when I'm listening to it, I'm not sure if any of the information that I'm hearing is resonating or being stored. But sharing you this story, you know, I remember some of it. And one of the laws, the dude was sharing a story, like he'll tell you, okay, 28th law of power, and he'll go into what that law is, but then he'll give you, you know, stories and things that relate that can help you have a better understanding of it. And one of the things that he said was a story that he was sharing, you know, related in the courts, king, queens, or whatever. But the story that he was sharing is like, you know, before you make a decision, don't concentrate on how it's going to come about. Concentrate what the end effect is. If I take this step, if I turn right 3-4 miles down the road, where am I going to be? And if you don't know where you're going to be when you make your first initial decision, then you need to go back and think about it a couple times. Because making decisions without an end game is just going to cause you to wonder. And when you wander around too often or make a habit of it, you're going to get lost. You're going to take a wrong turn. You're going to make the wrong decision because you're just freestyling and don't have a game plan. And you're going to end up 25 years later trying to figure out how to start your life over like I am. You know, before somebody builds a building, they go and survey the foundation. They go and draw up a blueprint. They get all their materials together before they stick that first nail in. They get all their financial situation, all their material before they start the construction. This is a house. And they're taking the time to go through all the steps to make sure they build it right. So if you got people that are investing this much time and thought into a structure, how could we invest less time into our lives? You know, being the age that I am, having the experience that I've lived, I've been able to learn a lot of lessons that I wish I didn't have to. And right now, I'm worse off than you, the viewers. I'm really, in essence, an adolescent trying to learn the world all over again. And I'm hoping that this time around, as I pursue my dreams and my goal, that I'm able to apply the life lessons that I've learned for the last 20 years. And for those of you out there, I know it's in our nature to not ever really hear and listen to the stuff that are being said to us and told to us, that we rather experience things for the first, on ourselves. Our parents can tell you, hey, that stove is hot. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. But somehow we're going to touch it anyway because we have that desire, that need to experience and learn things for ourselves. But some things, I'm going to say that some things, I promise you, you're better off just learning from someone else's experience. Because some things that you're going to end up experiencing yourself, you might not be able to come back from. Welcome to the USP.